everybody. Thank you and welcome to Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. I am excited and I hope you are as well. I could have said two, but that was too many twos. I was just thinking about that out loud. It's been really great listening to this music from decades ago. Some of the late, great Sam Cooke, Louis Armstrong, Jimmy Smith on that organ. I tell you, the decades have changed everything. Most things. From the clothing, to the music, to the quality of food. It is amazing the changes that have happened. But see, nothing is lost because of technology, right? Nothing is lost. Most all things can be regained if that's what you want. So I today, along with you, will be talking to, about, around, and with our 70-year-olds plus. Now, I hope they show up, right? I hope they show up. But I know for a fact that their experiences in life are going to be valuable to us. So I am Evadyne. This is Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. We are on the Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. And I'm glad we're here. Am I the only one who's glad we're here? Am I coming through clearly? Just asking for a friend or two?
Can hear you, Evadyne.
You can hear me?
I can hear you.
I thank you, and I hear you, and welcome, everyone. Welcome. Thank you. It is, again, my pleasure to be present, my pleasure to know that you all are present, and it goes past us. Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. I always say I want it to be worth that. Food for thought. I'm an appetizer. The main course is behind me, but it's really in your hand or in front of you. We are so open to receiving so much information. You just have to tune in. Again, we are on the Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. And it's progressive. If you're listening to this recorded, then I would like for you to call in anytime. Listen to the show lineup. We have a variety of shows. And, some of them are variety shows, I'm noticing now. But we have a variety of shows. Over 21, Monday through Sunday. Every morning at 7 a.m., we have a prayer call that everyone can get on. I believe you can even request a prayer if you need that type of direction for yourself, for your family, for friends, or for the world in a special way. Following my show on Mondays, my show airs live Mondays, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have Slot Time with Star at 7 p.m. And that's every Monday except the last Monday of the month, where we have the King's Roundtable hosted by Leon. That is a men's support show. Sometimes they'll let the ladies in, but most of the time it's for the men, and it's great that it is an opportunity for men to open up. On Tuesdays we have Grace Space with Jada at 6 p.m. and then the Pink Sofa Talk with Carol Lucille, where the first and the third Tuesdays are now ladies only. So everybody kind of gets their chance, right? But the other Tuesdays, it's open. You can go on the pink sofa, talk, relax, kind of lay back. Keep in mind it's virtual. Thank you very much. But you can get comfortable in your own space and join the conversation, listen to the talk, engage, because it's bigger than us. And you have no idea what valuable information may come to you, if not for you, then someone else along your way. So we welcome you to Grown Folk Talking. I am glad, again, that you're here. And we want to talk about, too, with our elders, our seniors, the ones who, oh, you know that phrase, been there and done that? Yeah, the ones who have been there and done that. We want to hear their stories. I hope they'll come on, because this is one thing I've heard. You know, you have people who say, oh, you're not supposed to ask a woman her age. And I say, oh, that's because we know how to count. I figured that out when I was a kid, right? I figured it was that disrespectful thing to ask a woman her age, because if she had children and we knew we could count, and the child was, let's say, 40, and we asked the mom her age and she was 54, then if we do some adding and subtracting, we would realize that teen pregnancies aren't new, you see. I'm just saying. So I felt, as a kid, whenever I heard that was the only thing that I could see that would make it disrespectful. That we would be able to figure out how young this mother became a parent. Apparent, A-P-P-A-R-E-N-T. No, it was apparent that she was a teen mom. But in some cases, it would be those same people who pointed their fingers at the teen moms that were happening in the newer generation, and not realizing the true dynamics of how all that happens, which is also about family support. So that can be part of the who, what, where, when, why, how you live such a happy, healthy life. Like I know a young lady who, when she turned 30, her oldest child was 15. And it's not something that we would encourage, but it is something that we wouldn't encourage it. But if it happens, you want to acknowledge, move forward with growth and development. Does that make sense? Because we're all here. We're all here for the greater good of everyone, and to be our best in our best way. So I'd like to open up the floor. And first, again, welcome everyone for coming on. If you have background noise, you can mute *6. If you are muted and you want to come in, you can unmute *6. I am working on, of course, a different device. Therefore, it's working itself out. Okay, so I'd like to open the floor. If someone would like to say hello. And you could tell us your age if you want, or you could tell us the decade. I heard that phrase before, the decade in which you're living in. And just tell us the who, what, where, when, why, how, living through so many decades, the experience of still being here. And thank you very much. And again, I want to mention, I heard my nephew say, old is the goal. Old is the goal, because the opposite of getting old is not being here anymore. So you only have two choices, and we make the best of it. And then my message that I sent out, we want to hear even some of the glory glitches that you may have come across, not all, but something that you came across that someone else may come across, that you can help them literally get across it. Get with it, get through it, and understand sometimes the lesson in it. So if you like to speak, you can speak now, and I would say for the first 5 minutes, and then we could always come back to you. Anyone?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I just want to call to say hello. I'm 64. I'm glad you have a show like this because there's a lot of us out there, And I told a few friends about it. They should call in and listen for the first time. I just want to put a shout out to Mama Kay. I hope she can hear it. She could just say hi and we would hear her. So I just wanted to say that. I'm going to always listen to the show and spread the news.
I thank you very much. And you are?
My name is Michael Tyson.
Hello, Michael Tyson. And thank you. And so you are reaching that beautiful age of 70, which is, the beginning of the show topic. And you can share if you like. I mean, we're all getting there. And let's remember that other little thing we talk about when we have those little children who are so wise and be like, that child been here before, So, at 64, you're at that halfway mark of getting to 70. If you'd like to share maybe 2 great lessons that you've learned along the way that someone else, many of us, could benefit from. Thank you.
Well, I also tell people, that are our age, you should talk to younger people because you will always have friends. A lot of people our age are getting sick. And I know a lot of people who say, I don't have any friends. I'm like, well, you have to have young friends too. And so you always have friends. They don't have to be like a teenager, like 40, 50, and you always have friends. I know people who say, oh, I don't have any friends. I was like, because you need to have young friends too. I'm into health, and hopefully one day, well, actually in January, I'm going to be doing a show on health, because that's the most important thing in our lives right now is our health. We have to maintain and know what to do when we get sick. If you don't do those things, then you're going to be sick and not live a healthy, life. Like I always say to myself, I always want to walk. I look at elderly people. I see some of the problems they have. And so what am I going to do to prevent that? So I really got into health, And hopefully, like I said, in January, I will have a show. I do call into all the shows and say hello to people. And I like the fact that we have this platform to reach out to people. You can sit in your house and listen. You don't have to go anywhere. And a lot of people can't even leave their house or are afraid to leave their house. Or because of the weather. It's like all sorts of things. So I love this platform a lot, And I would like to hear from other people. And thanks to you for offering this.
You're absolutely welcome. And, here's the universe again, the creator that I truly believe in. Your advice was the greatest piece of advice that could be given. That is so powerful. Have younger friends. Because we're looking back and somebody might say, dang, I wish I still had, as you said, Michael, I wish I still had some friends. All my friends are leaving. Unfortunately, even people's children leave before them. But absolutely have younger friends. And here's where that little glory glitch comes in at as well. People get to certain points in their lives. They mate up. M-A-T-E, they mate up. They start having children. They reach a certain age, like 30 or 40, and they feel like they could not make new friends. I heard someone say that. No, there's no way your best friend is somebody you met 4 years ago. This was a conversation just last weekend, 4 years ago. So I said, yes, their best friend could be someone they met 4 years ago. No. Your best friend comes from childhood, and your best friend this, and your best friend... No. People you've known long may come from childhood. I said, okay. See, again, I don't know fractions. I'm going to study them before January. But I love that lowest common denominator. So immediately I said to them, okay, I have a question. You meet,
Right.
you date, you get engaged, and you marry. You've known this person for years. You meet someone, you fall in love, you get engaged maybe a year or two in, and then you get married. Is that your best friend or not? Oh, what you talking about? Watch your mouth, right? Because people have certain perceptions that were embedded in their brains. And so you have to sometimes just like get that vacuum cleaner, put it in the left ear, go, suck out those cobwebs and that bad programming and get with living. Get with the life. Get with it. Oh, thank you, Michael. Would everybody agree that is like the ultimate greatest piece, not that we've heard so far in this conversation, but that you could share with someone, like, and even yourself, have younger friends. And of course, younger people can pass before you, of course, that too, but don't have just one. Engage with people who enjoy doing the things you enjoy doing. There are no age limits at that point. Engage.
Right. Not only just your best friend, any kind of friend, as long as you're communicating. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. It keeps your brain flowing. But what do they say again? Use it or lose it. So it keeps your brain flowing. Like some community colleges, I'm not sure if it's across the country or the world, but here in Brooklyn or in New York City, I'm going to say New York City, once you reach a senior, you could literally go into college, pay just registration, and take your courses for free and get your degrees. The intergenerational idea is why they put that in place, because they know the older people have life experience, and sitting in that classroom with the younger people is going to be a full experience, as long as people are communicating. Yes. Yeah. Oh yes. Michael. Oh yes. Now show us your registration form in a month or two. It's the community colleges. Yeah, you pay the registration fee, and you can attend for free, other than registration. Yeah.
Oh wow.
You see what happens here on Ground Folk Talk and Express yourself?
Yes, I'm so glad. It's better than watching TV.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. Would anyone else like to comment, share some information, the who, what, where, when, why? We would love to give the platform to our insightful, full of wisdom, prophetic seniors. But if no one is on, 70 and above, but if no one is on yet, who's next?
Just say hi.
That's right. Would anyone like to share? Okay, so let me share. There was, and I knew I should have done this the other day. A friend of mine, we were on the phone with her great aunt, and she's 101. She corrected her. She's 101. And she said she was trying to get her permission, trying to see if she would be willing to come on. So she, told her what we would be doing. She said, "What's a podcast?" So it was explained to her it was like a radio program. I mean, of course, at 101, we remember radio was the only entertainment source, right? So she said it's a radio program, like a talk show. We just were wondering if you would be willing to come on and, tell us a few stories about your life. She said, "Well, I think I would have a lot to talk about." We said, "Well, fine." But I really wanted to capture that conversation that we were having, to introduce the idea, to have that conversation. Because, she could have been busy at this hour, and I hope she can get on. But I will capture her, and I will air her anytime on any of my shows that I could get her in. I'll pre-record it. And I really wanted to pre-record it also. And this is powerful. So she could hear herself speak. We don't always hear ourselves afterwards. And it would really, to me, be so enlightening and exhilarating for her to hear herself tell her story. So I was looking forward to that. And I'm not going to say I'm disappointed at this point. I'm going to say everything is happening when it's supposed to happen, and we will get her. Would anyone else like to speak? Okay, and again, you can unmute yourself if you're muted, *6. I like to take attendance to make sure I'm being heard. Can I have oh God, I don't want to say the word roll call. I heard that the other day. So, just say hi to let me know whether or not you can hear me. Just say hi. You don't have to say anything else.
Hi.
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 Hello. Evadyne?
I am here. Thank you all for following through on that. That's good, because we've been, going through some technical stuff. So even though Michael and I could hear each other, we may have been on another level of the platform. So I wanted to make sure that all of my hot air was being felt.
Oh, just the feedback. Sorry to bring that kind of feedback in the beginning. Sound was very breaking. And Jimmy Smith was breaking, unfortunately, and I love him. And yeah, but thank you for bringing Jimmy Smith to begin with. And thank you for bringing the topic of the college. I wanted to introduce myself, to say hello anyway, but I just couldn't unmute at the moment because I have my hands are wet.
Evadyne?
Okay,
yes.
I'm gone. Thank you.
This is Adrian. I can't hear the other person speaking.
Okay, Michael, could you hear him?
Sure.
Michael?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, were you able to hear Vito speaking just now?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay, and Marcus, you were able to hear him as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Adrian, you couldn't hear him at all?
Maybe I should I'll turn my phone up and see if it helps.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Vito, you were continuing to speak?
Hello?
Yes. Were you continuing?
No. I sit and I listen.
Okay, and did you say you could not clearly hear Jimmy Smith, or you could?
I couldn't. Unfortunately, I couldn't in the very beginning. So that's what I'm saying. Sorry to bring that kind of feedback, but that's the feedback. So the sound was distorted in the very beginning.
Oh, sorry to hear that. So I'll let him take us out. Jimmy Smith is an awesome organist.
Yes,
oh
indeed.
My God.
Yes, indeed.
Oh my head. What did you say, Adrian? Okay, all right. Thank you for the feedback, Vito. So we'll do him again, definitely. Would anyone else like to speak, like to share? And this is what you're sharing. If you're only 20, lucky you, first of all. You have so many years ahead of you. If you'd like to give us the story of your elders, if you remember stories of your parents or your grandparents, of their good days, and even some of their not so good days, meaning they were just challenged, or they became ill and they couldn't do the things they used to do. I remember at my mom's service, I said to, because I am going to speak, right? Yeah, So I said to the listening audience, do what you can do for as long as you can do it. And when you can't do that anymore, do what you can do. Because when we arrived, we couldn't do any of it. Any of it. Sometimes people get physical disorders that then transfer up to their mental, and they start feeling, oh, I used to be able to do this and I can't do this anymore. Do what you can do for as long as you can do it. And when you can't do that anymore, do what you can do. Because there's always something you could do. Even if you're in a wheelchair, man, when that music hits up, your little hips be going, your arms be flaring, your head be bobbing. Do what you can do. Because guess what? You can hear the music. Do you know how many people can't hear the music? Or you can feel the beats. Do what you can do. And it doesn't mean that you don't push for more, because the Beamer machine could help you with that. It doesn't mean that you can't, Mike. It doesn't mean that, you can't push for more, because sometimes you have to do that as well. You have to push yourself to your next level. It is so true that you can be in the hospital for 1 week, or probably less, depending on the condition. And even though it had nothing at all to do with your ability to walk, you would have to go to rehab to learn how to walk. Because the body is such an intricately designed machine that one thing could happen and it disconnects the communication for however long or short a period of time. And you forget. Your brain forgets, but it's still there. That's why they said, if a person has two things. If a person has a stroke, their recovery would be much quicker in their own home, because their brain is looking for familiar. Not the green walls in the hospital, not the curtains, not the people who are helping them, not just those faces, because they're not familiar. The brain is looking for familiarity. If you can recover in your home, if you can rehab in your home, if you can get back to your home, you have a greater chance of recovering quicker. And also, if a person has a disorder that affects their speech, and they're not speaking, or speaking in a slur, or it affects their speech, have them sing to you what they're trying to say as soon as possible. Have them sing, because it comes from a different part of the brain. Okay. Would anyone else like to speak? I just had to mention that. It just came to my head. And since I'm getting older, if it don't come out my mouth when it comes to my head, I might just forget.
That's absolutely right. I mean, I was told that, and I've seen it many times, where when a person can go home after a major stroke or anything, how quickly they recover, because people are places and things. It goes back to that always. They're around people that they're used to. They're around things that they're used to. And things just, people say that things just start to come back to her and him, because they're in a familiar place. I've seen that happen many times.
That's right. And does that make sense to everybody? Just say yes.
Yeah.
Just say yes. There we go. And how many people knew that? Okay. Grown folk talk and express yourself, and Evadyne, talk worth listening to. Okay. And this is why we're present in life. We are present in life to learn, to share, to experience, to expose, to give, and to receive. You can eat on occasion, just on occasion. But for real, we're here to experience all elements of life. All elements of life. And to share that with others. Just like reading a book. Reading a book and your mind processing and visualizing what you're reading about. If it's about another country, oh, this is going to be fun too. If it's another country, I know, here I go again, right? The thought came. If it's an ocean, visualizing that ocean, that water, that jumping in and swimming and feeling the wave and what is that thing? Jet skiing and what is that thing people do on the, with the ski? What is that thing? They're not skiing. What is that thing with the board? Surfing. That's right. See, those are the big words I can't remember. Surfing. When you're reading about these things, it is stimulating thought, hopefully followed by action eventually. The desire to see it in real life. Desire. What a word. How important is that word desire? It's very important. Would you agree? If you don't agree, say, I don't agree.
I agree.
Thank you. So, okay. Now, this is going to be interesting, right? I'm going to say, I learned something yesterday. So the universe, let me start here. Anyone who's listening, if you have anything to say, excuse me, please. And then I will stop speaking because that's just one of the things I continue to do. And then you can speak. But guess what I learned yesterday? Because I get everything I ask for, it comes through humans, but I'm asking bigger than us. I'm asking the universe, the creator. And I said, why do people leave their countries? Because I prepare immigration documents, and I've done a few lately, citizenship. And I said, why would a person give up the citizenship to the country they live in? Why would somebody do that? Now, I learned, so my first part of my answer, because I met a gentleman last week who said that he has citizenship in 3 countries. However, in the United States, they either don't allow dual citizenship or they don't allow dual citizenship they probably don't allow dual citizenship because all the paperwork I filled out, it doesn't ask, would you like dual citizenship? The nerve. So anywho, why would a person want to give up citizenship to the country they were born in? And then I was wondering, with a lot of the migration happening now, how many people wanted to leave their country, and how many of those same people were led to leave their country? What is the plan for the country? That's that other little back thought I have, right? So yesterday, while listening to Aaron Trammell's show on Sundays that comes on at 1 o'clock, Seeking a Safe Space with Aaron, I received a text message to attend a faith-based immigration webinar. And I said, okay. Now, mind you, I just asked the universe, right? That I was talking to the universe and I was going to ask these questions. And even when I learned that this person had citizenship in 3 countries, I never shared with them, what I was wondering and all of that, and never even asked them any further. So I'm on the webinar, and so here's my question to the listening audience. If you're not a migrant, say I.
I.
Okay, so there's only 2 people that are not migrants. Anyone else?
I'm not a migrant. I was brought over from the enslaved people.
Yes or no? I or nay. That's all I want. Okay.
No.
So, of you all who said you are not migrants, how many of you are living in the same state that you were born in?
I live in the same state.
Thank you.
I don't.
Mike, you live in the same state. Have you ever lived in another state?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So of all the I's, Mike is the only one who's not a migrant. Now tell me why.
I live in a big state, New York. I used to born in Buffalo. Now I live in New York City.
So you migrated from one city to another.
Yes.
Okay. So you are also a migrant. The definition of migrant is moving from one state that you were born in or one city that you were born in to another. You migrated from your original place of birth to another place. Who knew? Who knew? Right? So when we have individuals who are always attempting to criticize and point their finger at people who are migrating to their country and taking all their jobs and all that other stuff that they talk about, in fact, they directly or indirectly may be a part of that same migration process. So I had to think about my 8 siblings, and I was thinking of them who hasn't ever migrated. And I only thought of one sibling. Then I remembered, even though I thought, she's always lived in New York, literally in Brooklyn, but she was born in Maryland. My mother went into labor in Maryland. So she too is a migrant, not of her own design, but according to her birth certificate, she was born in a different state from which she lives in now. So it's what we know and what we don't know. And this webinar was really awesome. And it went back many years, many decades, which kind of falls into the line of what we're talking about, because so many of our elders have transitioned through the years, even most commonly in America, where they moved from the South and came north because that's where the greenback was. Not necessarily giving up their homes in the South, nor did many of them bring their children with them. That goes back to that community again, that village. But they came north to make some money. Or they could have went out west where the mining was, wherever the money was, they went for the money and sent it back home. Doesn't that sound familiar to people who speak other languages? That sounds very familiar. They come, they go, and not just to America, they go to all different countries for opportunity. They go to get different countries because corporations want their labor. So they file for them with special visas for work. There's a lot that went on. I'm going to do my best to get a copy of it if I can, and I will air it on Evadyne with Company, other people's talk worth listening to. I thought it was very educational. I felt it was very educational. And I think just that little bit that I shared with you, would you agree that was a bit of education?
I think so.
Yeah. It's what we know and what we don't know, and then what we're led to believe by others. So I'm going to pause just a minute, and I'll ask again, is there anyone who would like to share their wonderful story of the who, what, where, when, why, if you're in that beautiful age range? Mr. Williams, I believe I heard you on. Are you ready to speak? I'm sorry?
Ready to speak, ma'am?
Yes.
I'm on. I'm not sure exactly what it is one is speaking about, except you're speaking about your lived experiences. Is that it?
Your life experience. So the who, what, where, when, how have you made it to such a beautiful age, what was the most interesting experience or experiences that you encountered? You have family, you do. What is the value of family to you? What is the value of family to you? And we're going to go with about 5 minutes this time, and we can come back around. Thank you.
Okay. Well, actually, it's quality of life. I think quality of life is critical. Quality of life is critical in our existence, period. And it can cause us to stay here longer if we're beset by some horrible pandemic or disease, which I was beset by some pandemics, some kind of a situation twice. The quality of life kept me here.
I was dead on.
I don't know who's talking when I am. I can't quite compete with that.
I'll be turning that on and come on by itself.
Maybe we ought to mute somebody if they want to keep talking like that. Okay, well, anyway. So, that's important. And the other part is, I happen to be blessed to why are the people talking while I'm talking? I don't understand that. Mine isn't you to look back to me. Well,
Evadyne, could you please mute those people? Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Williams?
no, but I had to mute somebody because you didn't.
Mr. Williams, can you please continue speaking?
I'm not going to talk while people are talking.
Okay, well, then hold on a second. Hold on.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to keep speaking. We can hear you over them, so ignore them until we can get to it and cut it off. But we can hear you over them. So you can continue speaking, please.
Yeah, okay. I'll just cut it off at this point. I'm merely saying that, to me, I was blessed to, let us say, have a relationship where I met the woman I married when I was, I guess maybe 18 and she was 16. And we dated, we were engaged for 2 years, and then when I was 21 and she was 19, we were married, and I was married for 55 years. Now, that's a blessing right there. No drama, no baby mama, no side chicks, no baby daddy, no side him or her, and so on. It's a good thing, and there were 4 kids that came out of that. And the legacy is these people turned out to be doctors, lawyers, and engineers, and their children too. And all that due to the blessing of the wife that found me, or we found one another. And she raised me and 4 kids. That was a good deal. And not many men can be blessed that way, be raised by a woman. But I was, and my 4 kids were too. So that was beautiful. And then I happened to, by the grace of the Creator, be put into a job, which is the only real job I ever had, and that was a job teaching in a high school. I began teaching a course in Week Lake High School in Newark, New Jersey, for about 18 years. It was Africana Studies. It was a 2-year solid holistic program. It was so exhilarating to have that job. And that was, that's the cornerstone of my life. That job and that family, and and I think quality of life living. And after the year 1986, the next most significant where I lived. Okay, so it was a lot of stuff. But then I got to a point where I called up Forrest Nance in June of 2023. And that set me on a path for a new career. And that's a career on this podcast where I'm now working with them. Forrest Nance was my student in the year 1975. And I was thinking about doing something about writing a book about my experience, because I kept hearing people talk about critical race theory. And they were saying they didn't want to teach black history in the schools and so on and so forth. And I knew there was no such thing being taught in public schools anywhere on earth. So I thought maybe if I wrote a book about what happened at 18 years at Week Lake High School in Newark, New Jersey, maybe people around the country would say, gee, you can do that. And this is a model of what it was. That's what I thought. And then, but I didn't have a venue. I didn't have a platform. I wanted to write the book, but I needed to find my former students to sort of be eyewitnesses to it. So as I was looking for them, I found Forrest in this year, as I said, in June. And he's so shocked to hear me. He says, Mr. Williams, that you? Yeah, Mr. Williams. You don't have a podcast. And I think you'll do well on it. And so since July 8th of this year, that's what I've been doing. And I've been doing the things that I've wanted to do all my life. I didn't know that I'd ever do it again after 1986 AD. But in 2023, I am doing that and bringing on people of dealing with the subject of combating systemic racism through education. So it's profound. I got the best of all worlds, and the future looks very bright. And this time next year will even be brighter. But tomorrow will even be brighter if I make it till tomorrow. But I want to keep living the same quality of life, and maybe I'll make it till tomorrow by the grace of God. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And please tell us, when is your show on this network? What are the times?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the time the program is on is at 8 p.m. Forrest put me there because he knows we can go long with powerful subjects. So he put me on at 8 o'clock at night on a Friday with nobody in back of me. This means we can go into Saturday, actually in the morning before the prayer time. Thank you very much.
That's funny. You said you can go all night. You see what age will do for you? Age will allow you to stay up all night. Ha-ha. That was a wonderful story, though, and your marriage has lasted longer than some people are even alive.
Beg your pardon, please. I wanted to say my wife passed away in June of 2021. That was the most devastating part of my existence, and I've been learning to try to function as a human being since that time. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you and thank her for the foundation she laid for not only you, but for your family and raising your children. And so sometimes it takes a minute to regroup. And as I mentioned earlier, do what we can do for as long as we can do it. And when we can't do that anymore, do what we can do. Because we are sometimes under the tutelage of others, under the warm arms of another. We are being embraced. We are being cared for. We are being loved. And we're moving right along. But in that moving right along, when a glory glitch happens, we stumble. And it can take a minute to get back up. And so we all have different experiences when it comes to love, relationships, and family. It's important to practice being without. Practice and prepare your mind for being without. Because as we learned over the last 3 years, give or take, many people are now without the future they thought they would have. And even before that 2.5 year glitch, people before that, their lives would be so turned around because of the loss of a loved one, whether it was a spouse or a child or a parent. If you're not prepared, you could stumble. And when we see and I'm just going to go back to the elders again, when we see our older people, I'm going to say 50 and older, who are homeless, who are, wandering around the streets, who are panhandling, who have lost their way, just like the migrants, many people point their fingers and look down on these individuals. But you don't know their why. I am such a why person. I should be shaped like one. That might work. Let me hold my arms out. I'm holding my arms out on an angle. I'm a why. But WHY, I am a why person. Because I see it the way it is, my mind always knows there's a reason why it is the way it is. I see it. I see it like everybody else see it. But I know there's a why behind it. Something has caused it. And it could be literally something as serious, but I'll say as simple as a person passing. No, that's a serious change, but it's something that's happening in every day that we live. The world, I say this too. The world comes to an end every day for somebody, but you don't want your world to come to an end because someone else's world has come to an end. Does that make sense? We must stay prepared. And I know I say it because it's just the way I think and live and feel, but I'm asking you to please start practicing living without. You're not hoping, you're not wishing, but you want to be prepared. I spoke to a gentleman the other day, and he was telling me about two guys in his neighborhood in their 40s, in their mid to late 40s. One was an engineer who lost his family in a fire, wife and children. He was never, ever going to live inside of a house again. That's what that trauma did for him. And he was an engineer. But his mind, it left. And he never wanted to live in a house again. So he lived on the street. You have doctors, you have lawyers, nurses, homeless, whether in a shelter or on the street, because one life situation happened. It's another thing when it's a chemical situation, when you and your friends are hanging out and somebody turns their back and puts something in your drink, friend or not friend. There's those chemical reactions that can change the way the rest of your life goes. I had an uncle who, I don't know if you know artists, like painters and sculptors, and some artists cannot do their art unless their state of mind is in a certain place. So I had an uncle who was an alcoholic, and in Baltimore, he lived, he had a place to live, but he was always on the street when we showed up. Always on the street, right? This man could draw on the street an image that you would go around if you were driving down the street. He drew that image in almost 4 dimensions. It looked like it was standing up. That's why you would go around it if you were driving on the street. He was gifted to no end, but only when he was, hanging out with the dudes on the street, in a shaky kind of way. That goes back to that whole mental thing, like a genius, like yay. I'm sorry, I'm just saying. we are not taught to understand all levels of the brain. So we just see what we see on the outside, but we don't understand what's going on the inside. Some people are so sparked electrically, so connected, so in tune. Even Mr. Williams, when he created that race theory curriculum, when he was teaching in New Jersey in the 70s, what he knew as a young man wasn't being taught but needed to be taught, that was inspiration. That was inspiration, just like an artist with a blank canvas. And then you have a beautiful, beautiful portrait. That is the brain being in tuned, sharpened, antennas wide open, because a lot of these things are not taught. If he's teaching it and it was never taught officially in a structured way to him, that's about inspiration and being in tuned, fine tuned, and listening carefully. That's powerful. Oh, so thank you. Would anyone else, I say thank you like, you all had a choice. No, but go. Would anyone else like to speak? And we're looking to speak again to our elders, 70 and above. I'm hoping somebody will show up. But if you're in your mid-60s, wherever you are in your life, and if you want to tell the story again of your parents or your grandparents or a relative or someone that you're in observation of, who is, up in age, but you could see the value in their life, the way they dress, the way they dance, the way they raise their children, the way they professioned their profession. Because, everybody who's in a profession is not in a profession for the same reason, right? Watch yourself. I'm just saying. So if anyone else would like to speak and tell a story, that would be great. Go ahead. Okay, so someone just joined us, and I do know that he is a senior and he is powerful, rightfully so. And I've known him for about maybe 8 years, give or take. We worked out of the same office in Brooklyn. So I'm not sure if he's ready to speak. I know he has my message because he just showed up, and I appreciate that. But we're just sharing, of course, information from our elders, insightfulness, wisdom, guidance, because we want to become elders to our younger people, and we want to help to steer them in the right direction. So 6503, if you'd like to speak, I'd appreciate it if you're ready.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, I just tuned in. This is Brother Abu Muhammad, Chief Executive Administrator, founder for Pyramid Youth Incentive, Inc. We're located at Bedford Academy High School, so I'm actually working with young people on a consistency. I have been doing so for the past, I want to say, almost old as I am, but I'll just say 45 years as a youth social worker. I did read the message. I don't have a lot to say. I hope that you do this again. I could chime in a little early, but I just actually seen the text. But in terms of guidance, in terms of reaching the age of 70, by the grace of the Most High, for me, it was a spiritual awakening. A lot of information came to me in terms of life, past life, this life, and even some of next life. And I don't know. I can't speak for others in terms of what type of epiphany they may have had, but I do know it's been like a revelation. I was also in the hospital in July for a couple of weeks, and that in itself was again an awakening, a renewal, and actually a state of atonement on many levels. I would suggest to people that it doesn't really matter what age you reach, but But let's look at your age right now. Let's look at this right now, right? Now is the time for, I feel, that folks should begin to make various forms of atonement. Atonement to yourself for whatever you've done to you that you could have done different to you for the better, whether it's your health, whether it's your wealth, whatever it is that you could have done better, that you may have been a little bit remiss in so doing. So it doesn't matter whether you're 7 or 70. It's a blessing to reach this age. Allah says in the Quran, He says, when we intend a folk to live long, we reduce them to an abject state. So I'm not quite abjected yet, but my body's a little different than when I was 15, 14, able to dunk the ball in Wingate Park, playing basketball. But I'm thankful to be here, to be able to breathe, to be able to see, to be able to sense the vibrations of people, to be able to pray most of all. That's very important. Prayer is a very, very important factor in a person's life, no matter how old you are. As you get older and you're on a spiritual path, you're going to really understand and appreciate the importance of making your devotion, your service, your worship, to the Creator of the heavens and the earth, whether you believe or not. There's something. Give me 1 second. I'm in a vehicle. There's something that you probably worship, whatever it may be, that you give devotion to. Well, I just say be consistent in it. Be consistent. That's the best advice, that I give. My mother once told me, actually, at turning 40, she said, you're not a man until you're 40. So in the 20s, you're still a youth. In the 30s, those are your revolutionary years. Your 40s, you're going into manhood. And 50s and 60s are your junior elder years. So whatever we're doing, you want to make sure that you're doing it to the best of your cerebral ability and do it right. Because this life is, it's a sport and play life. And we don't want to be sported and played out, so to speak. So all the best, everybody. Thank you, Sister Evadyne, for allowing me to share this information. It's been a minute. And I again hope you do it again so I can actually share that with other folks. This is needed. So peace, love, and wellness to all.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I miss you, and I'm glad you're out of the hospital and doing well. And I appreciate the words that you have shared with us. And yes, we will do it again. I was speaking to an organization about setting up fundraisers in the church, and I suggested to them to use the senior group because no matter how young the members are, prayerfully, they'll all become seniors. So that senior group should always be the longest standing, longest running entity in that church, as long as the church is still there. So yes, we will do this again. Children and seniors are my passion, and they've been my passion since I was a child. When I was a child, 11, 12, 13, my friends were parents. I mean, they were old enough to be parents, but they had 3 or 4 children. They were married. Those are my friends. And I think it kind of shows in the way that I think and the way that I carry myself. I don't know everything, but I know a little bit about a lot. And about me, I am not afraid to share it because that's how I get to learn more. That's how I get corrected. Because, you know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know it. Because why? You don't know it. So I'm always open to receive new information, to, as they say, stand corrected if that needs to be. And I am good. I have good friends around me. So, Brother Abdul, I'll miss you all. And I look forward to coming together and seeing you and doing some things. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to speak?
Permission to speak again, please. Yes. Point of clarification. I heard you mentioning something about something to do with the immigrants and migrants and being a citizen. As a point of clarity, so you're saying that if you were an American citizen, you couldn't have dual citizenship, or that you could? Because you can. I think some other countries might decide that they won't let you, but this country can never do that. And all law has pointed to the fact that they have done that. And well, there was a time when black people couldn't be citizens, but then one day they changed their mind and said, well, let black people be citizens. And even that's questionable. But dual citizenship is and can be practiced in the USA. Thank you. That was all I had to say, ma'am.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Well noted, and I will have to look into it, and see how that happens, because I just wonder again why someone would want to give up citizenship to the country they were born in if it wasn't mandatory. And yes, I do know that there are certain benefits that are allowed once immigrants come into the country, receive all their documents, and then they want to, because they can't vote, question mark, they can't vote unless they are citizens. And so, it could be those reasons, or sometimes people just do what everyone else has done. Follow the leader, but the leader is not necessarily the leader, just the one in front of you. Oh, doesn't that make sense?
For the qualification, please, now. Immigrants, you were mentioning, and this is a land of opportunity and on this planet for people, generally speaking, and whether it be by war, poverty, lack of opportunity, etc., people come here looking for a better life. So that's why anybody would give up their citizenship to come here. Of course, the enslaved people who came and worked and built this country and made it what it was didn't ask to come, but everybody else who comes for opportunity, land, etc., chance to do better, to raise your family better. That's why you would give up citizenship or leave a place where you were born.
So yes, I understand that, and that's what that workshop shared with us yesterday. You don't have to give up citizenship, though, in order to come here, become a legal resident, and make your money. You don't have to give up citizenship, nor do you have to become a citizen. And you don't have to become a citizen. I think I missed out too. You do not have to become a citizen if you're a legal resident, even to receive your Social Security payments once you have in your 10 work credits. But it's that citizenship piece that I was looking at specifically. And I know when I prepare citizenship papers, there is no question on there, would you like dual citizenship? I don't see it in my head right now, but I will look at it again. But yes, you don't have to be a citizen, and you don't have to give up your citizenship in order to come to the next country. And they come here, people go all over the world. I mean, they go to Canada, Australia, they go all over the world, not just the U.S., because of the picture of opportunity that's painted. So thank you again for that, Mr. Williams. Would anyone else, does anyone else have anything else to say? Okay, you can say that. But now I'm going to pose a question. What is your goal for age 75? Where would you like to be? What would you like to be doing? How would you like to be living? How free of debt would you like to be? How often would you like to be traveling? Do you still want to be dancing? It was so funny. I was talking to someone one day, and it was like, you still go to the club? I'm like, of course. What are you talking about? Like, what? Okay. But again, I'm only 61. But I'm still like, when I'm in the club, here in Brooklyn, as we know, right? There are people there who are 80, getting down. Going to the club is not about getting high for me. It's about exercise. And for many people, it's about exercise, socialization, like Mike mentioned, socializing and getting out and engaging and interacting. That's what going to the club is for me. Not drinking, not smoking, not drugging, not even coming home with a man. I'm going to dance with the DJ, male or female. My father was in technology, testing 1, 2, 3. That's how the party got started. So when the DJ say testing 1, 2, 3, and I hear that first beat, I'm on the floor. You know, I'm just saying. Why it's halfway empty, so I don't bump into nobody. But what are your dreams and your desires? What is your plan for age 75? Anyone?
Bye, Native Evadyne.
Continue.
Okay. At age 75, I want to be doing the same thing I did at 55. I want to be socializing. I want to be some traveling. I said I was done with my traveling, but I'm not, because there's still a few places that I haven't been to that I would like to go to. Not traveling far. You know, my younger years, I wanted to go as far away as possible. I wanted to visit other countries, and I have. And one thing I feel I'm blessed with is that I had good jobs, and I had made good money. So when I say I want to go, I just went, you know, by myself. And the difference is when I lost my sight, I'm not as quick to travel by myself, especially, you know, leaving the country. But I want to be doing the same thing. You know, if I want to do something, just get up and go. Just do it. And I pray that as I get older, I'm more able to do it. I have the means, and that I have, lack of a better way of putting it, the nerve to go, to get up and go. You know, I get antsy when I'm sitting still too long. It's something several people have told me. So I love to visit new places. I love to learn new things. And I pray that that feeling never leaves me, that my curiosity just keeps on growing and growing and growing. And I want to experience a lot. Different cultures, different people, places, and things. And my prayer is, and my grandmother passed at 102. And at 75, she joined a travel club. And every time I called my uncle, because she lived with my uncle, to ask where she was, oh, she's in Greece this week. Oh, she's in Italy this week. Oh, her and her travel group. And I'm like, does she know how old she is? And back then, my mind said, she's in her 70s. She needs to be relaxing. But, you know, my uncle, you know, encouraged it, and he loved the fact that she was in this travel group. And like literally almost twice a month, she was in another country. You know, this is a woman that was born right at the end of slavery. So that wasn't even a thought process back in those days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, another country. She didn't leave North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. So, granddaughter, grandmother, granddaughter, grandmother, the cycle continues. And I wish your prayer to be and come true. And ladies and gentlemen, this is not a plan. Adrian and I did not plan or plot this. This question was not written down, but the universe, the guides, it directs me, and I pay attention. So for what it is that Adrian wants to do, I have something that she can do it with. Because last week, I joined a travel business. And I guess I'll put a commercial in. This travel business allows you to travel more often for less money as a travel insider. It is a home-based business opportunity. It is called Surge 365. So my site is Surge, SURGE, 365, the numbers.com / why not you. Isn't that awesome? I've been thinking about folks, when I come up with these the suffix behind the websites. Why not you? And if not you, then who? But I was with the grandparent of this company back in 2008, which was YTB, Your Travel Biz. And they pretty much set the benchmark for online travel opportunities, online travel business opportunities, and ways to make money by doing it. So I invite you to take a look at it, because as a travel insider, just like if you are a member of Prime, Amazon Prime, or BJ, Sam's Club, Walmart, AAA, AA, all the A's, right? You remember because of the benefit it brings you. That's why you're a member. However, along with the benefit, you can use a referral code for Amazon Prime, I think, and you can use a referral code, I think, for AAA. So if you give someone your referral code, you get extra benefits for sharing it. That same kind of link, With Surge 365, you have 3 options of coming in. It's holiday time. People are always looking for extra money but don't really want to go out in the cold if they could help it. Well, you can come on as a Surge business associate and sell the travel agencies and the opportunity to make money. They have $60,000 in bonus money on the table if you do certain things within 100 days. You don't have to. If you're not in it for that, if you're just in it like Adrian may become, just because you want to travel more often and not spend all the money that public rates will give you, go right ahead. Just become a travel agent. You still have the tax write-offs on your taxes, off the money that you are going to make, because when you open up your travel agency, you give people their own portals. And in that portal, they will be able to book their own travel. They'll be able to shop at Macy's and Best Buy and all the stores that you shop online. And every time they shop, you get paid. But the me that I am, I never want to get paid because the customer spent more. I love this company because you get paid commission on what they save. So it's powerful for me. I believe, again, when we look at those pictures of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, I believe we were born to vacation. Somebody messed it up. I ain't mentioning no name, but somebody messed it up. We were born to vacation, and we were born to enjoy life. In whatever way you want to enjoy life, it's all up to you. However, again, of course, you can call me, 347-457-2769. You can go to the website, surge365.com / why not you, or you can go to my website, of course, NetworkingForSuccess.info, click on travel time, and it's all there. Okay, thank you, Adrian, for bringing that up, and I promise my right hand up. It wasn't planned. Would anyone else like to speak? Okay, so we are on Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself Progressive Podcast Network. You can find us here 7 days a week. You can call in 520-525-8633. If you're using a cell phone and your carrier charges you a penny a minute, you can text the words "call me" to that same number, and you will get a free call back. You could also go online to Huddle, HUDDLE.TEAM, and the meeting ID is Grown Folk. I will repeat again. Following me on Mondays, I'm here Mondays 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Following my show, we have Slot Time with Star at 7 p.m. every Monday except the last Monday. The last Monday of the month, we have the King's Roundtable, which is an all-men support group. They sometimes let the women in, but normally it's a men's support group, which is a needed outlet. So we'll see how that goes. All the shows are wonderful shows. 7:30 a.m. or 7 o'clock a.m. We have the prayer line. So if you come on at 7 and it's 7:30, you're going to be first in line. Just wait, right? But I think it's 7 a.m. We have the prayer line 7 days a week, led by Carol Lucille. And then on Tuesdays, we have Grace Space with Jada at 6 p.m. And we have the Pink Sofa Talk at 7:30 p.m., again with Carol Lucille. First and third Tuesdays with Carol, ladies only. See, we all get a chance. We have over 21 shows. We have 3 new shows that are on with young people. And we have more shows coming in January. Actually, Mike is going to be the raw food chef starting in January. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi. It started in January. I'll be doing, probably be a different name. I haven't decided on the name yet, but it'll definitely be in January.
Thank you very much. And then we have, so Mike and I are going to do some things because I'm also a Salad Master booking agent. Salad Master is titanium cookware, and they have a salad maker, which I absolutely love because it took my sweet potato and it curled it off just like it was butter. And I've always wanted to make coleslaw using sweet potatoes. But cooking raw food is very interesting. And eating raw food, it might sound strange to you, but if you eat salad, by the way, wink, wink, you eat raw food. So don't think of it like, so, oh my gosh, like people think of vegan food. Okay, so if you go get an extra helping of collard greens, that's vegan, no meat. Okay, just saying. Don't let the branding fool you. Don't let the branding fool you. So we're going to be doing some things together. Adrian, are you still on?
Yes, I am.
Can we talk?
Yes, we can.
When?
What do you mean, when?
Go ahead, Adrian.
You talking about offline?
No, announce your show, honey.
Oh, you did already. Can we talk with Adrian? Fridays at 6 p.m. on Grown Folks Talking, 520-525-8633.
Thank you. And now, starting, we have an echo. Can someone mute, please? Starting November, the third Friday of the month, Adrian's show will be hosted or co-hosted by Marcus. Are you with us, Marcus?
Co-hosted, yes.
Oh, Marcus! Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to unmute.
Okay. All right. Tell us about your show. It'll be the third. You're co-hosting with Adrian, the third Friday of the month.
Yes, third Friday of the month on Adrian's podcast, Can We Talk? Fridays at 6 p.m. Third Friday will be a segment where I can contribute some things that I've studied for some time now regarding neighborhoods and the importance they play in the subdivision of the makeup of what we have here called cities, counties, and states, and how knowing what a neighborhood does or what power it does have that's vested in its people can do to change the tide and stem the tide of anything that goes on with regard to us. So it's information and awareness, it's principles, but it's also practical application. And everybody's welcome to chime in and join the discussion, the conversation. Questions and feedback will be appreciated as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So we have a show on Sunday, and he's just joined us, and I'm hoping that he'll also give some insight. But first is our Monday show at 7 p.m. with Star. Star, are you available? Okay. So, Brother Bay, are you available? And Brother Bay, our subject matter is speaking to our seniors, 70 and above, speaking with them, for them, about them, never through them, but maybe. And then if you're not quite 70 and you're reaching that beautiful age, if you'd like to share a life experience or two that you feel is impactful and could help others who are reaching those points, reach them better. And what are your goals for age 75? Boy, that was a lot. Okay, we'll go back. And I muted you. I apologize. Go ahead.
All right. I'm just getting the tail end of the information. What was the question that you asked me? Was I available for what?
Well, you can share your show. What are your goals for age 75? What do you hope to accomplish by then? And we're sharing information that I'm going to say giving insightful wisdom to those who are looking to reach the age of 70, or if you're close or in between, what kind of pointers can you give people on living life to their fullest? I say, even if we have some glory glitches, the glory glitches are the things that we really don't want to talk about. We really don't want them to happen again. However, if you're here, you survived it. So there might be a lesson or two to share. It's all about, helping the world be a better place.
Well, myself, my whole life been about finding the truth, particularly the truth about us and why we were in the predicament that we were in. And it has become a life journey, and it involves a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of discipline, a lot of staying focused on that. And so it'll just be a continuation of that until we finally become what God Allah created us to be. I've been blessed to be born into a family that enabled me to develop myself without a lot of distractions. My father was a very conscious person, and so he gave me a lot of knowledge at a younger age that prevented me from being tripped up. That a lot of so-called blacks, colors, and African Americans are being tripped up on. And so my work is just a continuation of what he started. And so I see myself doing that until I go to the next phase of life. So my show, or our show, me and Coach T, we do a podcast every Sunday, 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, called Knowledge is the New Power. And it's basically on finances and also statehood and nationality. We deal with a lot of information that many of us as melanated people are not privy to. And so we go into areas that are kind of uncommon for the average so-called black person. And so it's a challenge because a lot of us are not aware, haven't been exposed to it. It's almost like a good correlation to correlate is that a lot of the businesses, traditional businesses that we as melanated people go into, it's like, the beauty parlor business, barbershop, selling barbecue, the typical traditional business in our neighborhoods. Well, we venture out into traditional type of businesses and go into the businesses that a lot of so-called blacks are not accustomed to, but we have to be accustomed to. We have to grow because it's 2023, and when we can no longer just do what we're used to. We got to get out of our comfort zone. So my whole life has been towards correcting the wrong that's been done to us. And it's been a challenge because a lot of us have been programmed to think a certain way. And I'm so grateful that my father and my parents wasn't a traditional thinker. They thought outside the box. My father knew about his history. He told me I was a Moor when I was 9 years old. So you can just imagine the type of knowledge that I have, and I'm 65 now. So that just gives you a little tidbit of my journey. And I will continue to be on that journey until, like I said, I make the transition and I yield.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And when you mentioned out of the box, I always say I've never seen a pregnant woman with a square belly. So we were not developed in a box. We were not born out of a box. So we should not be living in a box. That's my theory. Just saying.
And
thank you very much.
You're definitely welcome, but you're absolutely right. But a lot of us live in our self-contained box. I see it too many, and they're not willing to go outside their box. I have always been a non-traditionalist. I have always, walked to a different beat.
Mm-hmm.
That has always been my forte. And I could always see, unfortunately, what a lot of us don't see. And I see the box that a lot of us are in. And that's the reason why collectively we live the life that we live. We have never known what it is to be free. People think that they're free, but they have never lived a life of being free. How can you think that you're free when you don't even realize that you're not even governing yourself? You're being governed. You're being governed by somebody else. And I'll leave on this for everybody to think on this. For us to be the people, the bloodline that we have, the blood that runs in our veins, to be the type of people that we are, which are the first people. We come from a background where our ancestors were the people who brought civilization to the world. To the world, I said. All right? How are we living now? We can't even govern ourselves. We won't even govern ourselves. The same people who govern the world, the same people who brought the first government to the world, don't even know how to govern themselves in 2023. That's how far we have fallen. And I yield.
I thank you. And so one of the things we do know, this world is really big, and we just need to explore all of the options that are available. And I believe we're electrical beings with flesh and features. And so when people ask me, where am I from? I tell them I'm from the universe, but I was born in Brooklyn. because you are from the place. In a combination, some countries, if you're American, but you're born there and your father is American, no matter where, even if you're born in their country in the Middle East, they consider you to still be American. But I personally focus on what I call the bigger picture of self, which is I'm from the universe, but I was born in Brooklyn. Because I know when people say, where are you from, that's what they mean. They want to know where you're from, what city, what state, what country, if you appear to have an accent. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. But we all find our ground where we are most comfortable, and we do the things that move us in the direction that we should be going in as individuals, because collectively, people truly make the world go round. So that collective action is very, very important. Very important. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, so would anyone else like to... Thank you, Brother Bay. I'm sorry, did I say thank you, Brother Bay? Thank you, Brother Bay. Would anyone else like to speak, tell us about their show, give us some insight from themselves, their lives, or what they've seen with their parents or their grandparents, and if they want to emulate any of the life actions that they've seen with the older, wonderful people in their lives.
Permission to speak.
Permission granted.
Yes, ma'am. On that question you raised about reaching 75, well, ma'am, I'm 78, so I already went past that. So I guess I would have to have a goal when I reach 80 or something like that.
Okay, so what is your goal when you reach 80?
Oh, yeah, well, by then, I want to have brought to the nation the very special Africana Studies program I created between 1968 and 86, and see if it can be utilized in the schools of America. Maybe next year or the year after that, if I'm still here. I'm still here tomorrow. It'll be a miracle, or the blessing or the grace of God. Allah Akbar. And in any event, so I would like to do that. I'd like to be able to put into, or at least give public school districts in America an opportunity to infuse the program which I developed, and hopefully they'll find that it will be of value. And then I'd like to visit the continent, take a few trips from the Congo to the Mediterranean and throughout the continent. That's the dream I have for the future, and that's what I'd like to do in the future. And I can never repeat what I had in the past. I can never have 55 years of marriage to an angel, and so on and so forth. That's a blessing I didn't deserve, but I received. And so because I received grace there, I'm still here. And lifestyle choices, as I said before. So traveling to the continent and going throughout and seeing the glories of things that I read about from the time I was 10 or 11 years old. It's essentially what I like to do. And hopefully a Grown Folk Talking Network will still be in my life. And I will hope to carry them to higher heights too. Because Forrest Nance did receive education about black people and black studies from when he was a tiny boy from his daddy and from Near Baraka. And then it was finished off when he came to our program, and that's why I'm so proud of him. So I want to see him continue to grow as well. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum.
Absolutely. Walaikum assalam. So I have a question now, based on what you want to see over the next 2 years. And I know you would like to have this curriculum in public schools. And when I heard and hear you say that, I think about the private schools that will then be missing out. But when I think about both of those things, one second. When I think about both of those things, I love. Okay, so let me say this clearly. Sorry for the loss and grateful for the gain of the last 2.5 years. Because one of the greatest gains of the last 2.5 years is the power of virtuality, of us being able to do almost anything online, almost anything and anywhere. And I know on this line right now, listening live, there are links to people who could get that curriculum out nationwide within 6 months, virtually, within 6 months, and to deliver it effectively if you have that curriculum ready. Because the virtuality and the time frame within that, 24/7, Earth time, I call it in my book, 24/7, Earth time, 365 days until they continue to shorten them. Access online to delivering your curriculum, not just to students under the 12th grade range, but to the world. To the world. And it can still come back to the schools.
Okay, ma'am. Yes, Commissioner Steve. I'm only speaking about public schools because that's all I ever did in my life, and my workaday life. That's the only thing I've ever done my whole life, and it's the heart and soul of me. And I say public schools because private schools like Islamic schools and Christian schools and other kinds of schools and Jewish schools, they have their own curriculums, many of them, and they don't have to adhere to the standardized curriculums of the states and the cities they're in. And because of this, the people, the majority of the human beings that are children in America are in public schools, a vast majority of them. As a result, that's the target group, because the other group, generally, sometimes they have programs all on their own dealing with whatever it is they want to deal with, whether it's Afrocentricity or whatever it is, or the catechism or whatever they might be teaching. So that's why I say public schools. And I hope and look forward to having, I do have people who are working now on things that will help deliver it. But it's not a matter of the either or. I'm glad you made that point because it was on your mind all this time. I'm glad you mentioned it. No one wants to deprive private schools of anything because they have it all anyway. They have the money, and they have the donors, and they have the wealthy people contributing, and so on. And those places, in general, do. Public schools, of course, have to be at the mercy of the taxpayer, and that's why I focus my whole heart and soul on public school education. That's basically it now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. So, and for all of you who are listening, you can catch Mr. Williams' show again on Fridays at 8 p.m. here on Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself, Combating Systemic Racism Through Education. So as you heard him speak and what he wants to speak about, what he is speaking about, what he is putting together, you can catch his show on Fridays. Yes, so now we have, as I mentioned, following my show on Mondays is Slot Time, and we have Star. Go ahead.
How y'all doing? I've been listening for about the last hour or so. In reference to curriculums in private schools, charter schools, public schools, this is the beauty of what Evadyne was speaking about doing this kind of curriculum, virtually. Regardless of other schools, whether it be Catholic, Muslim, whatever it may be, they will have access to information that that you're speaking to that you want to put into public schools, because it's important that the information is out there for them to grab, for them to see. You may not be able to put it in the school system, but the school system can't stop you from putting it on a social platform. And that's where it's probably needed, because that's where most kids can go there and be unrestricted about what they're learning. This is not true. They don't have to combat a system that's suppressing it as it already is. Because if it wasn't being suppressed, it would be in the schools that we're speaking about now, private schools, Catholic schools, charter schools, and so forth and so on. So when you talk about do that kind of program virtually, you may have to take some youthful people. And that was something that was made a point on earlier in the show, where the guy was talking about making younger friends. And you may need younger friends just to promote your particular program, because they know the avenues to where they listen at. And you may need them to guide you as a human GPS to promote your program, to promote, Pan-Africanism. Whatever it is that you want to call your program, you want it on the net where you can find the youth at, because that's where they're at. They don't, many of them don't understand cable TV, old school TV, rabbit ears, antennas, and WORT. We used to get TV for free and all the fights and everything for free. So we have to go to where they're at. This is the reverse. We have to bring the mountain to the people instead of the people coming to the mountain, because that whole thing has been somewhat twisted. And a lot of people are not understanding why we have to do what we have to do, because it's not that we're doing anything hard. The devil brought a mountain to them too, and that's why they're climbing that particular mountain that they're climbing. They didn't just volunteer and go to the hardest mountain, to the troublous mountain, to the mountain of poverty and drugs and weapons. Somebody brought that mountain to them. So now we have to take whatever means that we can and bring that mountain to eclipse the other mountains. So, sometimes when you sit down and you look at doing this thing virtually, putting it in public schools is heroic in and of itself, to get a public system to accept that. Because everybody understands what happens when you start teaching the people about themselves. And this is what America's actually afraid of. But you have to utilize what we have in order to make what you want to work, because you need tools. It's not as simple as just walking into even the public schools and saying, I want to present this particular curriculum. This is my syllabus. This is my itinerary for blah, 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 blah. You have to go through a whole bunch of things that, that I don't really know about. But I can imagine, city council, board of education has to approve it, so forth and so on. But if you put it on a site, if you put it on a social platform where youth and people can go freely without being taxed, in the sense of people giving their opinion about what they're learning, you're going to have to do it like that. So, and while you're doing that, you could do the public school thing or whichever one comes first, but one has to follow the other, because you can't have one segment of children getting it and another segment not getting it. And these two segments, because of the way that they're taught, or one being taught and one being indoctrinated, when they meet up in the street, they're going to have a difference anyway. They're going to have it's going to be conflict on how they were educated about black people. So you want to have a universal line of truth. You want to have a universal teaching. You want to have a universal book on Africa. You can have different scholars, but if you're telling the truth, you're telling the truth. So it doesn't make a difference who write the book. As long as the truth is being told, it's going to be in all of the books anyway. Just like the lies are in all of the books now. The things that we have, fought against. And the lie doesn't even have to be written. It could be misplaced. It could be omitted. And if you omit the truth, that means that the lie has to live, because one cancels out the other. So in understanding the virtual part of it, it's key right now. That is the key to when you want to get to a demographic of people that stretch from 5 and 6 years old now on these little computers and their little iPads, and to the elders. who have somebody beside them that can show them how to work it or can work it themselves. But they want to be able to say, well, this is what brought about change. Let me read this. This is what my grandson or my granddaughter is reading. This is what my aunt, my uncle, or any family member is actually reading. And it's brought a change about in their life, that they're talking different, they're acting different. And this is what happens when people get their true history of who they are. Even the Caucasians, when they get their true history. I mean, and most of them know about their history as far as everything is concerned about, where they came from and so forth and so on. So they have a basic understanding, whether they know it by year, date, calendar, era, this, that, and the other, doesn't make a difference. They understand where they are. They understand the chronological order of humans came to be where we are today, what we have evolved from those millions and millions and millions of years ago, because you got to realize a lot of people don't even go past 3,000 years. They start with Christianity and they work their way up. But we know that, the planet and the people are older than Christianity, so we have to figure out how that history plays into that. What led Christianity to be where it is? So we have to go from Christianity and go backwards. We have to go from Islam and go backwards. We have to go from Buddha and go backwards, because once you find out that all of these people are basically saying the same thing, it's just that they got the lessons to their people at a different time with different saviors and different prophets, but the story is basically the same. And all of it bases on a point of Black history. So now, in order to get that information out, you're going to have to go virtual, because you don't want, you have to take that phrase. Who made that phrase? Or which administration? No child left behind. We have, that they got that from us, because that's how we were. That's why we said it takes a village to raise a child, because we didn't believe in no child left behind. So we can't just put it in the public school system and not try to reach out virtually, because we know that the private school and all of those other schools are not going to let that in without a major fight. You know what I'm saying? Because you could study Jewish history in public school, but there's no Black history in the yeshivas around the world. There's no Black history in the Catholic school, to the point that you want it to be an effective thing about being able to change a person's mind and their mindset and make them understand that they come from royalty and all these kind of things. So you have to commit to your channel, and this is what the future has brought us. You can go on YouTube and get your own channel. Bill Cosby, Oprah, and all of them was trying to buy NBC and CBS. You don't even got to go through that no more. You can go right to YouTube and get your own channel. But you want your program to be effective, because that's why when you watch the YouTube things in those segments, you always look at the numbers that's at the bottom of it. It tells you how effective that you are and the demographic that you're trying to reach. And sometimes your demographic may be caught up in something that's not as important in another area of YouTube. And you have to draw those people over too. So it's work to be done. And that is a solidification, because you got to look at all of this from a family perspective. Because one child goes to one type of school, another child goes to another type of school, and this melanated child is no different than this melanated child, except for the way that education and indoctrination is taught in the different schools. Because the private school, the charter school, those are still indoctrination centers if they're not teaching them the truth. When you're not trying to make men and women, but you're trying to make male and female employees, because that's what the school system was set upon. So you're talking about changing the whole structure of something that's been this way in this country for so many years. And it's easy to tie in. This is why it was against the law for us to read and write, worrying that we would get back to where we were. Because no matter what you write, you can't suppress the truth, but you can align the truth with and put it and make it juxtaposed to so many lies that it's hard to see when it's right there in plain sight. And those are some of the things you have to understand when you're talking about, teaching in the age of technology. You know what I mean? So you have to understand that. And it's not that you're not valuable, but it's technology is based on the information that you have. All they did was take it out of a book and put it on a computer that you could just plug into, and they put it in a base computer. I don't understand the system and how it works in its totality, but I do understand that everything that computer spits out on the internet was given to it by a human being.
That's right.
One brain to another brain. An automatic brain that doesn't sleep. You can tap into this brain day or night, all through the weeks, all through the months, all through the years, and go through all through history and plug into people in different countries, in Europe and Africa and Asia. You can touch continents that you may never put your feet on their soil, but you can have a communication and a network aligned with that. But you have to put something up that makes people understand that. And when you're talking about that kind of curriculum that you created from back then to now, you have to transfer it across the line, and you have to always fly that banner, no child left behind. And we have to make a way for those in public schools, private schools, charter schools, anything that's not in a public school, where you want to put where you want the seed of your program to go. But we can't leave those outside of the public school, outside of your information. Because if it's vital to the kids in public schools, it's vital to the kids everywhere.
Thank you. Star?
Yes.
I appreciate you. Thank you. So you come on at 7. Star has his show at 7. It's called Slot Time, Powerful. And I want you to tell us about the November 15th event, and then I will give the Zoom information. So if you're listening, if you can grab something, or after we're finished, just tell me where I can send the Zoom information. If you can't make it out, I will send that to you. Go ahead, Star. Thank you.
We have a program at Speedway Academy on the 15th. There'll be a flyer out. I have a young lady who created a flyer for me. She did a wonderful job with it, and I wanted to speak to that too. But it's November 15th at 6 p.m. We're going to be there, and we're going to be doing nation building and conflict resolution and everything else that comes along with it, because everything is connected to one. So how the conversation may begin, it may not end up that way, because it's a flow. You don't contain knowledge. Knowledge is like water. It just particularly flows. And there'll be a flyer put out somewhere where we can do what it is that we do. The young lady that did my flyer is in the process of finding out how to put them online, because you can only put so many words on so many templates that they're allowed to use. Each platform has a different template, but there will be a flyer put out, and there's a flyer sent to everyone that I know. Everybody on my phone list, everybody on the Grown Folks Talking, it has received one of the flyers, so it could be put out. Maybe the only one I didn't send one to was Adrian. Was it Adrian? I didn't send a flyer to, because I don't think I have her number. But Deborah and Evadyne, they have one that they can share. I sent one to Forrest, and I think Leon and everybody that was particularly on my phone list. I think I did. It was so many people. Now, here's the thing. We're going to do a second flyer, because I just spoke to Deborah a little while ago. We're going to do a second flyer because I didn't have room to put in the contact information for the Organization of Unity and Empowerment. And I wanted to give, as Deborah showed my oversight, to the liaison from Speedway, Miss Rudolph, I think it's Randolph, or Rudolph, one of the two, and we want to be able to put the information up. So Deborah's going to give me a brief synopsis of what she wants to say, and on top of that, Evadyne is going to add some information so they can do a Zoom call. So when Deborah sends me her information, Evadyne, I'm going to send it to you so that you can put it together in a package form, in a flyer form. You send it to me, and I'll send it to my people, and they'll make another flyer. So when we do put out the flyers, it'll be 2 of them, and that people can get them blown up so they can be put in the school so people can see it. That's beyond me. I'm just gonna have it done to where I understand it to be, and I'll push it back out, and after that'll be the final draft when everybody approves of it. And then I'll send it to my people, because the young lady, like I said, who did flyer, did such a wonderful job on my flyer. I loved it, and I was explaining to Deborah, because mine starts out as a town hall meeting. And Deborah was, it's not that she didn't like it. She didn't like the reference of it being called a town hall meeting because it was what she felt was no political attachments to it. And I explained to her, from my understanding, what a town hall meeting is. It's just an announcement to the community that we're having a meeting here tonight and we're going to be disseminating information which is contained in the particular flyer. You don't need a council member or anybody to I see my flyer girl just hit me too. And the young lady who makes the flyers, I'm gonna have to go and speak to her for a little while. And I come up with that's the whole thing. So when Deborah sends me that, I'll send it to you. And you add on the information, send it back to me, and I'll send it to my people. But that is the gist of it. The 15th, we're gonna discuss all of what Mrs. Stanford.
1 second, Adrian, I hear you.
And other things of that nature. So that'll be done on the 15th. And like I said, the flyers. Matter of fact, I sent one to Mr. Sanford myself. He has a flyer too. So there'll be an understanding of what November 15th means to us, and it's going to be a stepping stone. Each step that we take is a stepping stone. That's why I think it's so important for Mrs. Sanford and Evadyne to get together. So that part of history that he knows can be transferred over to the new world. And
okay.
The population that is on the 15th, is it geared toward children and parents, or children or teens? What is the population he's looking for?
The population is for everyone. It's conflict resolution. Where's the flyer? It's conflict. Hold on a second. It's nation building and conflict resolution. So it's at Speedway Academy, which is elementary through junior high. It is held during their parent meeting, their monthly parent meeting. But in speaking, we're speaking to everyone. As we were saying, you saw at the first meeting that we attended, the parents were engaged.
Others might have that same question.
Oh no, yeah. So we're speaking to it's a welcome all and everyone, all ages. It's a welcome all ages event on building nations and conflict resolution. So the Zoom is going to open it up to the absolute public because Speedway Academy is in Newark, New Jersey. So not everybody's going to come, and not even the parents. Parents at the end of the day kind of want to go home. And so not that the content isn't important, but there's a lot of factors in parenting. So the Zoom is going to give access, and maybe the school will open up another live, maybe WebEx for the school community as well. So it can be simulcasted, and all the information is going to be available. It's going to be recorded. So if you're unable to attend live, you will be able to get the link. Again, you can email me at teamfollowme@yahoo.com. teamfollowme@yahoo.com, and I will make sure that you get two things. I'll put the Zoom information in the link in the chat if you're able to see that. But also, I will be able to send you the Zoom information. I will be able to send you a link if you're unable to get on. But guess what? As with everything else, if you're unable to get on based on your schedule and you know already, share this information because it is information that is going to be helpful, useful, impactful to all communities globally. I like that word, globally. I mean, could you imagine that the things we are sharing and teaching, that World Wide Web, which is what WWW is, that World Wide Web releases the shackles off of information 101. It releases the shackles. Now, they could shut it down, of course, but until then, not only do you want to be on one platform, but it wouldn't hurt to be on more than one platform, just in case, So it's been a great session. We will do this again, 100%. I do believe that speaking to our young people as older people, and then our older people as we are on our way to being older, it's all education. Not Christopher Columbus education, lifetime education. Education that we can pass down through generations. We won't have to wait for a textbook to tell us half the story when his and her story can be told by us. By us. We have many shows on this network. Once again, Grown Folk Talk and Express Yourself, Progressive Podcast Network. Slot time is going to follow at 7 p.m. I'm going to stop the recording, even though what I want to share with you is on YouTube, but, you know, they are particular about what they let you pull up and pull down and all that other wonderful stuff. But I heard this, and, I mean, I don't know the absolute truth in it, but I love the way she delivers this information. And I could say it is probably true. So if there are no other questions or comments, Vito, I know I'll play the song, Vito, right, after I play this, but I'm going to stop the recording. But for the recording's sake, this is Evadyne with Company, talk worth listening to. I do hope this talk was worth listening to. The whole show will be up on my YouTube by the end of this evening. So you can go to my YouTube at youtube.com at Evadyne Smith. Nope, youtube.com / at Evadyne Smith 3986. This show will be up there. All of my other podcasts are up there as well. You could also visit Grown Folk Talking, Express Yourself Podcast Network. You will know you are at the right place when you see that hot mic. And many of our shows are uploaded there. You can come back, listen to the whole show lineup by calling in 520-525-8633. And we have 3 other shows that are not listed, but just come on. Come on. We have Sister Nabia. She's on the 2nd and the 4th Saturday at 8:30 with Let's Heal the World. She was on, but she jumped off. So Let's Heal the World. Very inspiring, very resourceful. She's a Reiki practitioner and an essential oil practitioner. Very important information. Body disorders can be reordered, but we just need to know how to reorder them. Really. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording. Anyone else, anything else before I go off? Okay, I want to stop the recording, but I want you to listen.